If your Excel chart is showing the wrong values, you're not crazy and your math might be fine. Most wrong chart problems come from three places: the axis settings, the data range the chart is actually using, or rows and columns that are hidden or filtered. The frustrating part is that the chart can look believable while still being incorrect. So the goal is simple. You want to prove what numbers the chart is plotting and then lock it down so it can't drift later. We'll start with the fastest checks that catch the biggest mistakes. Then we'll move into the sneaky ones, like mixed units, text that looks like numbers, and charts that ignore hidden rows in one case but include them in another. By the end, you'll have a repeatable checklist. Use it anytime a chart doesn't match the table, and you'll be able to fix it without rebuilding the chart from scratch. Next step. First, confirm what wrong means. There are two common cases. 1. The chart is plotting the wrong data, like the wrong months or the wrong column. 2. It's plotting the right data, but the scale makes it look wrong, like a truncated axis. Start by picking one data point you can verify fast, like the largest value in the table. Find that exact value in the chart. If it's missing, the chart range is likely off. If it's present, but looks too big or too small, the axis is likely the issue. Also check whether you're dealing with a category axis, like months, or a value axis, like revenue. Category axes can silently reorder or treat dates as text. Value axes can be set to weird minimums, maximums, or display units. This quick diagnosis saves time because it tells you where to look first. Range your axis before you touch anything else. Next step. Now do the most important range check. What cells is the chart actually using? Charts don't always update the way you think. Maybe you added new rows, but the chart still points to the old block. Or maybe you inserted a column and the series shifted. The fix is to inspect each series and confirm its X values and Y values. Pay attention to two details. First, does the series name point to the right header cell? Wrong names are a clue the series is offset. Second, do the X values cover the exact labels you expect, in the right order? If the X range is one row shorter than the Y range, Excel will still plot, but it can misalign labels and values. When you correct the ranges, prefer contiguous blocks. If your data is in separate chunks, consider rebuilding the source into one clean table first. Clean inputs make charts predictable. Next step. A reliable way to prevent range drift is to convert your source to an Excel table. Tables automatically expand when you add rows or columns, and charts linked to tables usually expand too. This helps with the classic problem where the chart stops at March, even though you added April and May. It also reduces accidental inclusion of blank rows that create gaps. There are two trade-offs to know. 1. Tables bring structured references, which look different from normal ranges. That's fine, but it can confuse people who edit the file later. 2. If you have totals rows or extra notes inside the table, the chart may pick them up. So keep the table strictly data only. Headers in the first row, values below, no merge cells. Once the table is clean, your chart becomes much harder to break, because the range updates with the data instead of relying on manual edits. Next step. Next, axis problems, because even perfect data can look wrong with a bad axis. The most common issue is a value axis that doesn't start at 0. For some charts, that's valid, like small changes in temperature, but for totals like sales, it can exaggerate differences. Another issue is a maximum that's too low, which clips the top of columns or lines. Also watch for display units like thousands or millions. Your labels might show 2, but the real value is 2,010,000. That's not wrong, but it's easy to misread. If the chart is using a logarithmic scale, the visual spacing changes dramatically. Log scales are powerful, but only when you intend them. The fix is to set minimum and maximum deliberately. Set major units to readable steps, and confirm whether display units are applied. Make the axis explain the numbers. Next step. Category axes can be just as tricky, especially with dates. Excel sometimes treats dates as text labels, and sometimes as a true date axis. Those behave differently. With a date axis, missing dates create spacing gaps. With a text axis, missing dates just disappear and spacing stays even. If your line chart suddenly looks compressed or stretched, check whether Excel switched the axis type. Another classic issue is sorting. If your months are text like Jan, Feb, Mar, Excel might sort them alphabetically unless you use real dates or a custom list. Also check for duplicate categories. If March appears twice with slightly different spelling or extra spaces, Excel will treat them as separate categories. The fix is to standardize labels, use real date values when possible, and choose the axis type intentionally. Your chart should follow your timeline, not invent one. Next step. Now let's tackle hidden rows and filters, because this is where charts feel haunted. Excel can either include hidden data or ignore it, depending on settings and chart type. If you filter a table, your totals might change, but the chart might still show the full dataset, or the opposite. The key is to decide what you want. Should the chart reflect only visible rows or all rows? For reporting dashboards, you usually want the chart to follow filters. For historical charts, you might want it to ignore filters. In chart settings, there's an option that controls whether hidden and empty cells are plotted. Also remember that hidden can mean manually hidden rows, filtered rows, or grouped outline rows. These are not identical. So when a chart looks wrong after filtering, don't assume the data changed. Confirm whether the chart is respecting visibility rules, and set it intentionally and document that choice for anyone else using the file. Next step. A related issue is blanks and zeros, because they look similar but chart differently. A blank cell can create a gap in a line chart, or it can be treated as zero, or it can connect the line across the gap. Which one happens depends on how the chart is configured. If your chart suddenly dips to 0, you may not have zeros. You may have blanks being treated as zeros, and if your line breaks unexpectedly, you may have true blanks or formulas returning empty text. Here's the practical fix. Decide what a missing value means in your data. If missing means not measured, a gap is honest. If missing means 0, then use real zeros. If you want the line to connect, choose the option to connect data points with a line. Also check formulas. Returning an empty string is not the same as returning NA. Using NA can prevent plotting without faking zeros. That one choice can clean up a messy chart fast. Next step. Another silent chart killer is numbers stored as text. They look like numbers in the cells, but Excel treats them as text. So charts may skip them, plot them as zeros, or mess up sorting. You'll often notice this when one point is missing or when the axis labels look right but the line drops unexpectedly. Common causes are imported CSVs, copy-paste from web pages, and values with hidden spaces. Also watch for mixed decimal separators, like commas versus periods, depending on locale. The fix is to convert text to numbers consistently. You can use a clean conversion method like multiplying by 1, using value, or using text to columns with a controlled format. After converting, recheck the chart range, because Excel sometimes expands or shifts when data types change. Once everything is truly numeric, your chart becomes stable, and your calculations become trustworthy too, not just the picture. Next step. Let's talk about mixed units, because this creates charts that are technically correct, but practically wrong. The classic example is a column chart where some values are in dollars and others are in thousands of dollars, or durations where some rows are minutes and others are hours. Excel will plot them together, and the outliers will dominate the scale. Another version is percent values stored as whole numbers, like 25 instead of 0.25. Then your chart looks 100 times too large. The fix is to standardize units in the source data, not in the chart. Add a helper column that converts everything to one unit and chart that. For percentages, decide whether the source should be true percent format or decimal values, then apply it consistently. If you must show 2 units, use a secondary axis carefully and label it clearly. Secondary axes solve a real problem, but they can also confuse if you don't make the units obvious. Next step. Sometimes the values are right, but they're attached to the wrong labels. This happens when the x-axis labels and the y-values don't line up, usually after inserting or deleting rows, or when ranges have different lengths. It also happens when you copy a chart and then change only part of the source. A quick sign is when the trend looks shifted by one period, like February's value showing under March. The fix is to make sure every series uses the same label range, and that the label range is anchored correctly. Also watch for merged header cells. because they can cause Excel to guess the wrong series names and offsets. If you're charting multiple series, confirm that each one points to the correct column and the same set of rows. When labels and values align, the chart becomes readable again, and you stop chasing wrong values that are really wrong mapping. Next step. Another advanced culprit is how Excel treats empty rows, hidden columns, and discontinuous selections. If your source range includes blank rows, Excel may interpret that as separate blocks, especially in older workbooks or after edits. That can create missing points or unexpected breaks. Hidden columns can also be included in the chart even if you forgot they exist, which is scary when a hidden column contains old numbers. The fix is to simplify the source. Remove fully blank rows inside the data block. Move notes and subtotals outside the charted range. If you need subtotals, create them in a separate summary table and chart the summary. Also, unhide columns temporarily and scan for shadow data that shouldn't be plotted. If you must keep hidden columns, make sure the chart series references don't include them. A chart is only as clean as its input range. Clean structure prevents weird behavior later. Next step. When you're stuck, use a rebuild without redesign approach. You don't need to recreate formatting from scratch. Instead, create a fresh chart from the correct data range. Then copy over only what you need, like the chart style, colors, and labels. This works because sometimes a chart object keeps old references or settings that are hard to spot, especially after many edits. Before rebuilding, make a clean source table, consistent headers, no blanks, correct data types, and standardized units. Then build the new chart and compare a few key points against the table. If it matches, you can replace the old chart. If you need to keep the old look, use the same chart type and apply the same formatting. This method is also safer for shared files because it reduces the chance of hidden settings causing future errors. Think of it as resetting the chart's memory while keeping the design. Next step. Let's wrap this into a simple checklist you can run in under 2 minutes. First, verify one known value so you know if it's range or axis. Second, inspect series ranges and confirm labels and values match in length. Third, check axis settings, minimum, maximum, units, and any log scale or display units. Fourth, decide how hidden and filtered rows should behave and set that intentionally. Fifth, handle blanks correctly, gap, zero, or connect, and watch out for formulas returning empty text. Sixth, convert text numbers and standardize units. If you do those 6 steps, you'll fix the vast majority of wrong values charts without guessing. If you want one habit that prevents most of this, it's using a clean Excel table as the source and keeping notes and subtotals outside it. If you found this useful, subscribe for more practical Excel fixes, and comment with your most common chart issue: axis, range, or hidden rows. I'm always testing new ways to work smarter. Subscribe to see what workflow I'm breaking down next.